My top 10 receivers in the 2026 NFL Draft. Let's get into it. What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to my channel. Today we have another great video, my top 10 receivers in the 2026 NFL Draft. I've been working on this video non-stop last 2 weeks. Very excited to show it to y'all. So we're just gonna get right into it. Every receiver that I'm gonna talk about today, bare minimum, has a second round grade for me. We really could see 10, 11, 12, probably max 12 receivers go in the first 2 rounds this year. It's a pretty deep class with some great players at the top and some great players that you can get for value in the second round. But I mean, yeah, let's just get straight into my top 10. Starting off with Elijah Surratt. Surratt he's a limited upside kind of outside receiver. I think I have him as an X receiver, but I really do think he can maybe even slide into the slot a little bit. If you get matched up on a linebacker or safety, I think he can really thrive. Pros, he's a very solid route runner. He understands how to create separation. He's amazing in zone coverage. That was a big reason why Indiana won the Natty this year, is the chemistry between Fernando Mendoza and his receivers. They understand how to give better throws. He understands where to find the open space in zone. He's also reliable. His hands won't let you down. He is great on the back shoulder ball. Great. He was great in the slot fade. Great on the slant. Lots of people say he doesn't run a super complex route tree, which might hurt him translating to the NFL, but I think he ran enough routes. I mean, they ran a lot of, don't get me wrong, they ran a lot of back shoulder balls, slot fades, slants, and curls, like 5-yard hitches. Those 4 routes were like their go-to. But they also ran some comebacks, they ran some digs, they ran some outs. I mean, I guess they didn't run like a huge complex route tree, but he can run all the basic routes. It's not like they were literally just running hitches, slants, and goes the whole year. They mixed some other stuff in there. His cons, though, is where it really gets him. Super low athleticism for a receiver, runs about a 4.6 40. Slowest game speed out of these 10. He's not going to burn you with his legs. He's not great after the catch. And, I mean, he has to rely on just the technique to win, which is good. He still wins a lot, but it's definitely going to hold him back when he's going against, some of the most athletic players in the game of football. But I have him as a late second round grade. He's a great, just reliable receiver. I don't think he'll ever be a wide receiver 1 in the league. His peak, like his most upside, I can see him as a wide receiver 2. I don't think he'll be a super high-end wide receiver 2, but I can see him being a solid, like it says, a reliable wide receiver 2. But, I mean, I think year 1, he's going to be a rotational guy. You can just, you always know he's going to be there. Moving on to my number 9 receiver, we got the other Indiana Hoosier, Omar Cooper Jr. I was a big fan of Omar this year. He went in on the outside and in the slot. He's another, not super fast. He's not super fast. He's not like a big home run play guy. He runs out of gas a little bit on the big plays, but the amount of tackles that he was breaking after the catch was honestly shocking. He makes people miss better than I thought. He has really good balance and body control. Good at understanding leverage. If DBs play too aggressive on Cooper, he just understands when to break his route off and when to go to really cook DBs. And I don't think the upside's super high. I can see him being a solid wide receiver 2, like slot receiver who can kind of do it all. But just like Surratt, I don't really think he's going to be a wide receiver 1 in the NFL. He elevates his play in clutch situations. He can attack every level of the field. He's also good in the contested catch situations. Not like super good, but he's good. Not the biggest receiver. He just wins in his routes. That's all I can say about Omar Cooper. All right, moving on to wide receiver number 8 in this class. This one might be my first controversial one. I know a lot of people are very high on Chris Bell, but I have Chris Bell as my number 8 receiver. And it's not that I hate Chris Bell, but I really like the 7 that I have above him. He was super explosive. He's one of the most explosive receivers in this class. He's pretty much the opposite of the last 2 guys that we talked about. He's explosive, has great speed, great size. He's 6'2", 220 pounds. He's pretty much like a smaller linebacker running routes out there. Very athletic, explosive. That's his pros. The cons are the technique isn't all there in his routes. He wins a lot with just his speed and his size rather than really getting DBs in bad spots and really winning off of his technique. He also rounds off his routes at the top, which gives DBs a chance to back into the play. Pretty much, if you round your route on the top, let's say on an out route, it gives the DB more time to get down and go cut off the route. But the biggest con with Chris Bell is the ACL injury that he suffered this year. When your calling card in the league and as a prospect is your explosiveness and you go tear your ACL, it's going to hurt your draft stock because how explosive will he be after the ACL injury? We don't know. If he doesn't have that ACL injury, he's probably an early second, maybe even a late first round pick. And who knows if he finished out the year. He was catching like 8 to 10 passes a game, and he was dominating. But like I said, ACL injury is not what you want to see out of a receiver like Chris Bell. But if a good coach gets his hands on him and his ACL injury doesn't hold him back too much and he gets back to how he's playing pre-injury, Chris Bell has a lot of potential. I think I'm more so projecting him to be a wide receiver 2 in the league, but I could see him sneaking up and maybe peak. He might be a wide receiver 1, maybe. Moving on to wide receiver number 7. This is another one that might surprise some people. I first want to say this is coming from an Auburn fan. This ranking is coming from an Auburn fan. And I'm ranking Jeremy Bernard at number 7. He's just so polished. He's probably one of, if not the most NFL-ready receiver in this class. He's athletic enough to win at the next level. He's, smart enough. He's great at staying down in zone. He's got a much better release package than I expected. He's also just got a super high floor and a pretty solid ceiling as well. I feel like people are starting to give Jeremy Bernard a little bit more respect, but I think he's even better than people are still are saying. He's more so a Z at the next level, like an off-ball outside receiver, but I mean, he can play anywhere. He can absolutely play anywhere. He's reliable, good hands. I just think he's going to be a reliable wide receiver 2 at the next level. He's going to translate immediately. I think he can make an instant impact. He does fix the little things, like the little nuance in his routes. He lifts up at the top of his routes a lot, which just gives DBs more time to bite on the route, if he can, cut and keep his speed through his cuts at the top of his routes and not lift up his pad level, German Bernard could really shock some people in the NFL. He could be a very, very good wide receiver too. All right, moving on to wide receiver number 6. We have Chris Brazzell. Brazzell, I have an early to mid-second round grade on him. He's one of those receivers, though, that I'm not 100% sold on, but all the upside is there. He's 6'5", 200 pounds, so he's got a huge frame. Might need to put more weight on the frame to really bully those physical corners in the NFL. He's got a good speed to size ratio. He's fast. He's got a good speed to size ratio. He's fast at his size. Very solid release for a 6'5" receiver. He even has the ability to play all around the ball, similar to how Drake London kind of plays in the slot as a bigger receiver. He's good at working into the DB's blind spot, getting where they can't see him and breaking off his route. I want to see him work back to the football and catch more with his hands instead of his body. He's not horrible at working back to the football, so it's not like the biggest knock on his game, but could see it improve. Doesn't give great rack ability. He really goes down on first contact after the catch. And then overall, Tennessee receivers, guys, they just don't translate for whatever reason. It's usually because of the limited college route tree, but they just do not translate to the NFL. Jalen Hyatt and Dante Thornton's still young. They're both still young, but so far those are two biggest examples. I actually like Dante Thornton. I think get him a good quarterback. Who knows what he could turn into, but Tennessee receivers typically don't translate well to the next level. But I think Brazzell might just be the exception. He's got the size, he's got the speed, and he's really a better prospect than those last two guys. And he has legit wide receiver 1 upside. At 6'5", 200 pounds, get him working with a good coach. Who knows what Brazzell could turn into? I think really his floor, I mean, you could see him fall off and not even being in a starter role, but I'm projecting him to be at least a wide receiver 2, like a solid wide receiver 2 who maybe bounces around the league, and he can help out some teams. Moving on to my wide receiver number 5, KC Concepcion. I have him about ranked where the consensus has him ranked, late first, early second round pick. I honestly lean more probably towards an early second than a late first, but I could see a team reaching, not even reaching, but taking KC in the first round. I think it's risky because I really don't know if Concepcion can be a true wide receiver 1 at the next level. And is it worth taking a wide receiver 2 in the first round? Maybe. Late first, you're talking about teams who are, one piece away from winning a Super Bowl. Maybe you pair him with a good wide receiver 1, he can really dominate. But overall, the pros, he's quick, he's explosive, he's solid on his release off the line, shows the ability even as a shorter receiver to go up and get the football. He's great at changing gears quickly. He can really get on you with tempo and then just turn on the gas, step on the gas immediately to create separation and then shut it down. He's dynamic. He can play in the slot. He can play outside, and he's even a special teams weapon. But at the next level, I think he'll be more of a slot receiver. Cons, he doesn't have great breakaway speed. He's not slow either, but he ain't gonna run away. He ain't gonna be taking 80-yard screens to the house. He also had some concentration drops. He rounds off some of his routes too at the top, but it's not, yet again, it's not, his cons aren't like super critical, and his pros are good. So overall, my biggest thing with KC between a late first round pick and an early second round pick is, can he be like, is he worth a first round pick? Can he really contribute what a first round pick receiver should contribute? I don't know if I see him being a wide receiver 1 in the next level, but I could see him being one of like a top 3 wide receiver 2. Moving on to my wide receiver 4, Denzel Boston. Mid to late first round pick. I'm pretty high on Denzel Boston. I think I talked about Drake London earlier with Chris Brazzell. I think Denzel Boston is the closest thing we've seen to Drake London. He is an X receiver, but at his size, he can really play all over the place, but mostly you're going to see him at X on the outside. I think he has great wide receiver 1 upside, but bare minimum, yet again, I think he's bare minimum just going to be a wide receiver 2, but the upside is worth a first round pick. 6'4", 209 pounds. He's great at going up and getting the ball. He's smooth with the ball in his hands for a 6'4" receiver. He makes a little bit more people miss than I expected. But overall, he's just not super explosive. He's great at going up and high pointing the ball in the air, almost like he's rebounding basketball, like shielding off the DB and then just going up and getting it. He has good speed, but it does take him a second. He's not super explosive. It takes him a second to get to that top speed. He's also great at selling vertical. If you sell vertical as a receiver, the DB's not going to know. He's never going to be able to predict when to jump a pass. And Denzel Boston does a great job at that. Cons: he's a little slow coming back down out of his breaks. It takes him a second to get out of his breaks coming back to the football. He rounds some of his routes off. It's not like the worst thing, but if you improve that and you really accelerate through your cut rather than rounding it off and drifting upfield, that'll help him in the league. Could use a little bit more size on his frame to prevent injuries and match physical corners. He's 6'4", but he's only 209 pounds. He could use a little bit more size. Overall, he's a big frame receiver, great size-to-speed ratio. He's got good nuance in his routes. He can do a little bit after the catch. He even contributed to special teams. I think he had 1 punt return touchdown. And overall, bare minimum, wide receiver 2, upside to be a legit top 20 receiver in the league, if not better. Moving on to my top 3. These are the big boys. These are the guys who are going to really make an impact at the next level, starting with Mekhi Lemon. I think you can really make an argument that Mekhi Lemon is closer to wide receiver 1 than he is to wide receiver 4. He's up there. Like he is a real deal prospect. I'm projecting him as a wide receiver 1. He's 5'11", 195, so he's a little bit smaller. He's more so going to be a slot receiver at the next level. But his pros, he has good top end speed, sells vertical on every single route. I love receivers that sell vertical. He plays the ball in the air as if he were 6'3". I mean, can extend his hands. Even as a smaller frame receiver, he can extend his hands and go get the football. Breaks a lot more tackles than I expected. He fights for every single yard. Great body control. He catches every single pass with his hands. And very good at finding soft spots in zone. He really does have almost every single thing you'd look for in a receiver. The cons: he isn't, at his size, he's not the most explosive receiver. He kind of builds up to speed rather than just getting to speed immediately. Definitely struggles against physical corners and beating press man. Might want to see him work more on his release. He kind of had he kind of just relied on the same release every single play, which, I mean, go watch the Notre Dame game. Was matched up on Leonard Moore, who's one of the best press corners in the entire country. He's probably gonna be a top 10 pick in the 2027 draft. Leonard Moore really dominated Mekhi Lemon in press that for most of that game. Lemon had a couple nice releases and shook him a little bit, but overall, Leonard Moore won that matchup, and it is something to watch out for. But I think Mekhi Lemon, he has great athleticism, great technique, great IQ. He's just a little bit smaller. He'll fit right in the slot. I think he can really be a top tier slot receiver in the NFL in the next 2 years, 3 years, and so on. All right, here we go. My top 2 receivers. This might shock some people. A lot of people, most people probably have Carnell Tate as their number 1 guy. And the margin is so small. Carnell Tate is one of, if not the best deep threat prospects we've seen at the wide receiver position in a while. He is so dominant on the deep ball. Just the nuance in his routes, contested catchability, the elite tracking skills. He really can shake the DB on his deep routes, just taking that one extra step that throws the DB off course, gets him open. Elite body control. He's also great at finding spots in zone. He can work the defense and get in that open space. I didn't see him get pressed a ton, but when he did get pressed, he was actually pretty impressive on his release. He's also elite at coming back to the football. It's very hard to cut off Carnell Tate's routes because he's going to beat you to the football. He's going to work back to the football, and he's going to beat you to it. So QBs are going to like that because it's going to limit interceptions. Some of the cons, he lacks overall speed and explosiveness. I think he's tied for the worst 40-yard dash on this list at a 4.6. He plays with a little bit more game speed than that, but just the overall NFL speed and explosiveness isn't there. He's not great after the catch. He might make one guy miss here and there, but it's not a super big part of his game. He's more of like a possession receiver on the short to medium routes. Might need a little more size on his frame. He's 6'3" and under 200 pounds, but it's not a big need. He does lift his pad level a lot on the short to medium routes, like a lot, which is gonna give DBs a better chance at jumping his route. If he can really sell vertical and then snap off his route and maintain his speed through his route, Carnell Tate can be really dangerous in the short to medium route range. I think he's easily going to be a wide receiver 1 on the next level. He'll probably end up being top 10 to 12 receiver in the NFL. I think he's worth a top 10 to 12 pick. He's worth a top 10 pick. We'll see if he goes there. But yeah, I mean, Carnell Tate's a really, really good wide receiver prospect. But my number 1 receiver, Jordan Tyson. Jordan Tyson is not easily, but he's my number 1 receiver. It would have been easily if you take away his injury history. I think if every receiver in this class is 100% healthy, Jordan Tyson by far is my favorite wide receiver in this class. You add in the injury history, and he's pretty much even, if not maybe even a little worse of a prospect than Carnell Tate. I think Tyson's still the best receiver, but the question is, do you want to risk taking a wide receiver 1 who can be elite in the NFL, but injuries might hold him back and he might never reach his potential? Or do you want to take another elite receiver who doesn't have the injury history but might not be as elite? A lot of people are going to choose Carnell Tate over him because of that, and I understand it. But Tyson's the most overall polished, like, day 1 receiver His routes are amazing. He reminds me, honestly, so much of Justin Jefferson on the top of his routes. Just he's so smooth in and out of all his cuts. Uses head and shoulder fakes to keep the DBs guessing. Great contested catch ability. He really floats. Like, I think one announcer said it in one of his games. He jumps up and it looks like he's mistiming his jump, but he floats in the air. Go watch him. It's insane. He's also got a very good release package. Honestly, might have the best release package in this entire class. Great body control, dynamic. He can play slot or outside, which I love. And he attacks every single level of field. He can catch behind the line of scrimmage, short, underneath routes, over the middle, deep, contested. Lacks overall speed. He's not slow, but not fast. I think he ran a 4.5 40-yard dash. We'll see what he runs in the combine. If he even runs the combine, I don't know if he will. He's not a killer after the catch, but he's not bad. He can do it. He can work after the catch. It's just not his game. And then the long injury history is the biggest thing holding Tyson back. Really, if you take away the injury history, I think there's an argument Tyson is maybe a top. I mean, he's probably a blue chip player if you take away the injury history. Right there on that Jeremiah Love level, but like a legit blue chip prospect. Overall, injury history is a huge red flag, scare many teams away from drafting him, but because of the injury, people really forget how great Tyson was. If he stays healthy in the league, there is no doubt in my mind he can be one of those dudes in the NFL. So that's pretty much it. That's my top 10. Tell me what y'all think in the comment section. Tell me, also comment what position group y'all want next. I'm kind of working on a bunch of them right now, but if y'all all want, I don't know, if y'all all want running backs next or quarterbacks next, whoever y'all want next, I'll try and get that video out as soon as possible. I'm probably planning on doing QBs. Or no, I'm probably planning on doing offensive line and defensive line next. I think I want to get to that, and then quarterbacks and cornerbacks. And then after that, I'll probably release a mock draft or two, and then I'll get to like safeties, linebackers, running backs, tight ends. So that's my plan, but y'all tell me what position group y'all want next, and I'll push it up the list. Tell me what y'all thought about the rankings and what I get wrong, what I get right. And yeah, peace.